The Trump administration announced a plan on Monday to partially fund SNAP benefits amid the government shutdown.
SNAP is used by more than 40 million Americans, providing them with monthly assistance to afford food. The Department of Agriculture had previously said that payments would be frozen for the month of November because it could no longer be funded. But now court filings show that the department will use more than $4.6 billion in contingency funds to keep the program going.
However, recipients are still unlikely to get their full benefits for the month, according to reporting from The Hill. Quote, "It is not enough to cover the full November benefits, which are expected to cost upwards of $9 billion. The judges indicated the USDA could use dollars from another funding source to fill the remaining gap for November. The new update indicates the Trump administration will not do so, calling it a, quote, unacceptable risk."
The administration previously said it would not be using the contingency funds, arguing that those funds were only meant for emergencies like natural disasters. And the USDA is making a similar argument now for why it can't take funding from other sources, such as the Child Nutrition Program that helps provide free meals to kids at school. There also could be major delays in getting these reduced benefits into the hands of Americans. Part of the court filing reads, for at least some states, USDA's understanding is that the system changes states must implement to provide the reduced benefit amounts will take anywhere from a few weeks to up to several months.
Lawmakers on the left are blasting the decision, urging President Trump to fund the program fully instead of only halfway. Now, Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth says on X, quote, "As someone who grew up counting every last SNAP dollar, this is intentionally cruel. Trump has the money to provide full SNAP benefits during the Republican shutdown, and he's choosing to let families struggle. Hungry children deserve full bellies, not crumbs."
But the Trump administration, as well as other Republicans, is insisting that Democrats are the ones responsible for the shutdown and that the government must be reopened for things to go back to normal. U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins writes, "It will take several weeks to execute partial payments. This must end. Senate Democrats need to quit the games, quit holding American families hostage to ridiculous demands like health care for illegals, and reopen the government. Once they do, full benefits then can get to families without delay."
We're now in day 35 of the government shutdown, which ties the record for the longest in U.S. history.
Well, if they want the full benefits, we can vote to end the shutdown. Republicans would be thrilled to have that happen, I think. It would be good to, get this one taken care of. Democrats got to vote for it, and I predict some of them will soon enough.
I saw a list of moderate Democrats that represent moderate states that are thinking about coming to the table.
They're ready.
I don't think it's anybody wins when you have the longest shutdown in history. That's trash. I think most people across the aisle agree that Congress is failing. They're not having these raving reviews about how they're doing. I think that the government shutdown is a failure of both parties to lead. I've said that over and over again. Now, when we talk about separately, and because it's tied together, medical coverage in our country and how it's broken down, I think that also needs to be completely fixed. And I think that the Republicans went on a rampage to try to repeal Obamacare for years, and now we're in a position where nothing was really changed. And while Marjorie Taylor Greene's point about the middle class being hurt by some of those Obamacare policies that are now like a decade or more old, Republicans are in a position and have been where they're running both chambers. And so what's the plan for medical coverage moving forward? And while they may not have to address it immediately, there's still American families that are going to have to figure out how to pay those bills.
Let's get the government back up and running, and then we'll work on fixing.
But will they, though? That's the biggest question for Democrats. Is that, and like I said, I don't think that they should be shut down. There's 42 million Americans that are trying to figure out how to get paid, and it's also good to know that these SNAP benefits are not going to come. The half partial payments won't come the people get their payments on the 1st or the 5th or whatever day of the month. They're not coming that same day. They have to sort out how to do this.
Retool the system to provide that is kind of vexing to me. I don't want to spend the energy to do that when we are going to reopen the government and have the SNAP benefits come back in the fullness of time. It seems silly to reconfigure the system to provide half benefit. They make it sound like that would be very difficult to do. I don't know why these things are so complicated.
But it's curious to me why the president would even try to hold those funds if he cares about everyday Americans, because previous administrations, including in Trump's first term, used contingency funds many times specifically to keep SNAP running during shutdowns and during situations that happened when it was the Republicans' fault. So I think that it's important to make sure that we're protecting people when you're in the middle of an argument. If the president doesn't want to come to the table, that's fine.
It's debatable, in my view, that the emergency funding is supposed to be for in the event of a government shutdown. I think it's supposed to be in the result. This is a debate if they can use it for this purpose. It's supposed to be a genuine disaster,
but now the courts
not
are
a self-inflicted legal
right, and the courts
problem.
are telling them that they can, and they're like, oh, we'll do half. We're not going to pull from this other fund. And while I understand that there could be an argument about it, if people are like, listen, we're here now, and the president doesn't want to come to the table, even though, like you said, it's not his job, it's Congress's job, but Mike Johnson hasn't given any real plan for medical coverage forward that will make Democrats secure enough to sign a clean CR to have that dialogue in December about health coverage, then what are we doing?
Democrats
it's not only
created this
one
healthcare
person's
system.
fault. It's
the
an
system
entire.
that everybody hates. It was created by the Democratic Party. It's Obamacare.
Yeah, I don't think it's called the
their
Affordable
system.
Care Act, and I don't think that people only hate it. I think a lot of people who were never covered in their entire lives, were the most vulnerable of our population, became covered by this.
Well, they cancel out the people who lost coverage that they were. Thousands of people got kicked off plans
There's people within the
that they
Republican
liked.
Party very vocally, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are arguing, like Senator Josh Hawley, that are saying, okay, we're here now. People need health coverage. So you're beating a dead horse. What are we talking about? We got to figure out how to get people coverage. Like, we can't just have people walking into the emergency room randomly or never paying their hospital bills. Who's covering that bill? Still taxpayers, still us. So either way, people are going to go to the doctor and have no coverage or some coverage. Affordable Care Act helps cover those costs for people that actually can afford to have health care.
It helps
so they're not just walking in there.
It helps disguise the costs so that the insurance companies themselves, the medical service providers, and the drug companies can charge exorbitant amounts of money that then get, because you're not paying it directly, get dispersed to the us as a population, as a tax-paying base, and everything gets more expensive on average for everyone.
We agree on that. We feel strongly on that.
Though you're right, you do not pay yourself the cost of whatever the catastrophic thing you have, your surgery for whatever it is. You don't pay that. That's dispersed among the society, but because the price of it is so dispersed and confused, they can charge higher than they would if it was a market-based system.
So that should be a top priority
like
for
food and
Republican leadership,
electronics.
just like it is for Democrats in Congress. They should try to figure that system out.
Well, I don't think Democrats want to make a more market-based system. They want to make a more socialist-based system.
They should present a plan.
Where we'll have
That's
long
what Marjorie
lines,
Taylor Greene's argument
like
was.
Canada,
Present
where
some
people
kind of
come
plan.
here to get actually good coverage.
But no plan is not good. We can agree to that, right? There's no plan coming out of the Republicans right now. No plan.
Well, I'd rather leave it alone than have a socialist system, but I'm not even sure I would. The current system's so bad. They need to come up with a plan, and the Speaker is not doing enough. I will agree with that. Breaking news this morning, former Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away. We'll be right back with reactions and a look at his legacy. Stay with us.